Hey you guys, this is Jess with Sourceful Journey back with another video. I'm actually getting ready to have a quick little, I guess you could say lunch snack. It's just like a protein box that I got. I don't know if you guys can see. Oops. Yeah, you do. Okay. Where it's some, looks like it's pecans. Yeah, candy pecans. This is tofu and an egg. And then I'm gonna put some sauce on the tofu, some ranch sauce. Okay. And as for my drink, I love this water. It's no preservatives and it's unsweetened. It's coconut water. It's so good. It's 1 liter. I don't know if you can see that. So I'm gonna try to get through this, and hopefully this will hold me over until dinner time. So while I'm eating this, I'm gonna actually talk with you guys because I got a response yesterday. It was really interesting. Oh, I might not need that sauce after all. I think I'm just gonna leave it. I might not need it after all. So anyway, a little story time. I want to be able to address this and more so give an updated video on my stance when it comes to the thought about religion versus spirituality. So I ended up getting a response yesterday. I forgot the young lady's name. I think it was something Roxy. I can't remember exactly. But her comment, she actually left like a couple of comments, and I thought it was pretty laughable in my opinion, because it proven to me that she really did not get the gist of what my video was about, or what most of my videos are about. Again, coming from a Christian-based background, I know I can speak on this in my own take in terms of all that is going on as far as like between religion and spirituality, and why I would hope for the day that we become more aware of both areas and do truly understand that there is quite a bit of difference there. As a matter of fact, I do want to point out, I commend those who love to quote scriptures and all. I think that's great. Bravo. But to be able to quote from a text that has been altered over 1 million or so times, I'm just using it as more of a laughable statement, saying 1 million times, when of course it wasn't that many times, but you get the point I'm getting at here, right? To be able to do that and say that you stand on being one way, but your actions does not follow, when it comes to that says something. But that could be another topic for another day. We're not going to jump into that. What I want to talk about is, let me get my laptop out here. Hold on 1 second, you guys. So just to kind of keep it more simplified, let's say that, right? Okay, so the definition of Christianity is the religion based on the person and teachings of Jesus of Nazareth, or its beliefs and practices. Plain and simple, right? Okay, follow me on this one. So, in reference to religion, let's talk about it. The belief in and worship of a superhuman power or powers, especially a god or gods. And this is actually coming from, looks like it's from the Oxford Dictionary. Follow me on this one, you guys. Now, the difference between religion and spirituality, let's talk about it. Religion is a specific set of organized beliefs and practices, usually shared by a community or group. We can agree on that part, right? I mean, think about it. Outside of Christianity and all the other religious sects, it all coincides with this approach. Now, as for spirituality, let's talk about it. Spirituality is more of an individual practice and has to do with having a sense of peace and purpose. It also relates to the process of developing beliefs around the meaning of life and connection with others. To put it plainly, most of us would agree that religion divides. Spirituality unites. Think about that statement. When it comes to the different sects that we have when it comes to religion, think about the religious stances that each one holds, especially when it comes to the notion of which religion is the top religion to follow, which religion is the biggest one on a global scale. It divides people. It divides. It doesn't unite as it does in regards to spirituality. For the young lady who did respond yesterday to one of my videos, I'm going to say this, and it was one of my most recent videos to be exact. I'm going to do an updated response in terms of my stance and all this. Religion and spirituality they're both conspicuous areas. You can't really connect the two because the focus of each is not the same. So when you think about it, spirituality is more on a united front because it kind of goes back to that notion. When did it ever become a thing where God wanted us to be more divisive versus united? A lot of these religions, including Christianity, didn't come until many, many years later, after man has stepped foot on this earth, right? On this planet. Do we all know that? I'm hoping that we do all have some sense of knowing. And you don't have to be a history major or any of that or a theologian to know it, right? I think it's really telling when people are so quick to want to speak on something without really sitting down and listening to what is being spewed and the material that they're viewing at the time. It's pretty evident that this young lady who did respond to one of my videos was speaking on it from a sense of as if what I was sharing in terms of my story was something that was demonic. Again, who are we to judge the other person and determine what's considered demonic or not? And let's be real about it. I actually talked about this in an earlier video. One of my older videos is what I was about to say, where I brought up the notion that, a lot of the things that we were taught when it came to being in the church, in reality, a lot of it is aligned with witchcraft. Dare I say that? Yes, I do. It's the truth. Because, and then what's so sad? Because a lot of people are starting to become more aware of it, right? And we're not running from it. It's simply what it is. But, again, who are we to point the finger and say which side is coming from? At the end of the day, as being, we have no right to want to point the finger saying who's getting what from where. That's for God to determine. After all, God is the one that created us all. So I would hope that people going forward, before you leave a response to someone's video, make sure you thoroughly listen through the entire video. Make sure you do your research and really get a good understanding on, for instance, the difference between religion and spirituality. Let's start there. I was thinking earlier when I saw this response, I started to laugh a little bit. I'm like, do I even respond to this young lady or not? I thought it was no point. I had so many videos where I talked about this topic. So you know what? I'm going to do an updated version of it. So, going back to my previous videos, when I talked about the notion of angel numbers versus prophetic numbers, right? Or let's talk about when we, talk about the notion of claiming it and receiving it in the Christian space. As an example, again, me coming from a Christian-based background, I could speak more so on that than any of the other groups. Talk about that claiming it and receiving it, right? Versus the notion of manifestation, right? What are some other ones? We're talking about the whole thing with anointing or whatever the case may be, or talking about the Holy Spirit, but we freak out when people talk about the spiritual realm and how they are truly with us and we are never alone. Make it make sense. It cannot always be one-sided. It cannot. And as I mentioned earlier, and I still stand on that 100%, there are various religions here within this world, this realm, and the reality of it all. spirituality really does not tie into that whole divisiveness approach when it comes to the religious side. It's completely different, which is why you find that there are actually some Christians, and you will see this quite often online. A lot of things that they speak on that they agree with, it's very much aligned with the spiritual space too. Let's really talk about that. Find it funny how some would use the notion of talking about prophetic numbers, but then there's some Christians who would talk about the notion of angel numbers, which is what you find most people who are spiritually inclined, such as myself, we would talk about. So it goes back to what I was saying. No matter how you twist and turn the words, the reality of it all is those signs, synchronicities, whatever the case may be, are there for a reason. It's to be used as a guiding post to help you along your journey. You gotta get out of being so tied to different titles, different terms, get so hung up on that and forget the main factor of what's behind those terms or those phrases. As I mentioned before, the notion of claiming it and receiving it versus manifestation, things like that. Don't get so hung up on it, because little do we realize when you sit down and you dissect the meaning of both or many of the other different ones, different terms, whatever the case may be, you'll see that, wait, this is really not that different from the other. The only thing that's really different, again, is when we talk about religion, which is more divisive, versus spirituality. And if people are fine with that, hey, kudos to them. But I just wanted to leave this quick response for that young lady and really just do an updated video on this in terms of my stance on it. I'll still stand on every single thing I said in my older videos, 100%. You need to be extremely careful when it comes to our approach, when it comes to leaving responses, because again, when you do things like that, you come off looking like the idiot in the situation. I'm not gonna call this young lady an idiot. I would just say that she was responding from emotion. A lot of times what these individuals would do, they would do that just because they want to be heard. Or in some way or another, they feel like those who once viewed them in a high light are starting to shift gears because they're starting to become more aware of self. That's really what's happening. And I think it personally is a beautiful thing to witness, in my opinion. It's a beautiful thing. This time is going to come regardless of who may have not been prepared for it, who may have not wanted to happen. I'm trying to stop. I got food in my mouth. I'm so sorry, you guys. At least you're getting the gist of what I'm trying to say when I'm eating, right? This time is bound to happen. And it's not a bad thing. It isn't. Because, again, think about the times of old, before all these different religions came about, before these religious texts were brought to the forefront, and before those religious texts were ever altered a million times over. You know, think about that. How did they connect with Source? How were people able to still move forward in their day-to-day without having to be dependent on text, without having to be dependent on prescription drugs, without having to be dependent on technology? Think about it. How should I say this? All of these items are man-made constructs. And I would say more on that. I want to say more on it so bad, but I'm going to stop right there. I think some of you guys know where I'm going with this one. So we're just going to leave it at that. It's man-made constructs. That is all for today's quick video. Again, I commend those who do the Bible quoting and things. I think it's adorable. But when you think about the two areas as far as religion versus spirituality, they're two separate arenas. Don't try to find a way to mesh the two together. because it just would not work. It won't. And spirituality is more so becoming aware of self as well. And so much I want to say in this video, but I'm just not. Just do the research before you respond to someone else's video just out of emotion. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't done so already, you guys. I definitely want to welcome the new followers. I do see you guys rolling in. I'm getting your messages too, so welcome, welcome, welcome. I also want to let you guys know consultations are still open. We're getting ready to embark on a new week. So let me see here. Towards the end of the week, it's completely booked. I checked as of this morning. But as far as, I believe, Wednesday, I think I have maybe 2 more spots for tomorrow as well, but Tuesday's out too. There's still spots available. If you have any issues with booking, just definitely reach out to me and then we can set up a time. I would just need to check and see what my schedule looks like for that day, and we just go from there. Of course, and part of the reason is because of with my own work schedule that I have outside of this that I do. So I need to make sure it's all balanced. But yeah, be interested to know what you guys think. Don't hesitate to leave comments in the comment section below. Also, you can continue to message me as you have been. You guys been messaging me consistently. Emails are still coming in, which is great. Keep that going. I do love reading the emails and I do respond back, you guys. I'm not, again, I say it over and over, I'm not the type of person that will leave you on red. Rest assured of that. But as always, I am definitely seeing you guys with love and light, and I will see you in the next video. All right, be blessed, you guys.